What is the timeline like? When do you think kids should start contacting schools? Is there a time of the year? What's the best time? Is it off season the best time? On season, fall, spring? What's kind of the timeline? The best times to answer a coach? Because we got a coach here who's gotten thousands and thousands of emails.
Well, during the summer, most of them are on the road recruiting and being actively involved, so it's much more difficult to maintain your paperwork when you're at games and showcases and being out there 7-8 hours, and you're very exhausted when you get home to the hotel room. I think the fall, if I were to do it, I would say the fall of your sophomore year, I'd begin to create that kind of contact. And if you're going to email them, I'd make the email short, right to the point, with a paragraph devoted to what your academics are and how you've done, and basically a paragraph kind of on your baseball achievements. Catchphrases may be such as, if you played varsity as a sophomore, that always was a big thing for me. If you struck out one guy in an inning, that was kind of the threshold on pitching side. I mean, there's many things that you could get into with greater detail, but on the surface, you kind of gotta whet my appetite a little bit with some accomplishment. You don't need to tell me that you got a double over the left fielder's head in a big game at the end of the high school season. That's I'm probably not going to read very much farther into the email once I see that.
And the other piece of that question, before the sophomore year, after the sophomore year, before junior year, I mean, obviously you want to get this process started by your senior year, but do you think there's a best time to start if you're kind of a kid trying to get discovered, to get on the radar of some big, medium, maybe small programs?
Well, I would think the fall is by far the best time. September, October, when they get back, most people play fall baseball, but they can devote a lot more energies at that time of year. Once you reach January and February, then you begin practicing for your season, and we get paid to win or lose and hired or fired based upon winning and losing, so your focus becomes your team at that point in time. So summer timing is not great. Springtime is not great. That September-October window would be fabulous, I think, in their mind.
And then one quick one. You've mentioned about the email, things that you put in the email. Anything else that you can let the viewers know about, something that should go in the email or how the email should be formatted?
Well, I think with the 11.7 scholarship cap and the 35-man squad limit, certainly your capabilities of being able to pay for some of your schooling is a huge item. You may, just because you have the means doesn't mean you have the desire to do so. So if you get that great fit where you're really trying to get into that school and you think it's a great match for you, and mom and dad are willing to pay for some or all of the bill, that's a big, big part of the equation from the coach's side, because the 11.7, you have to slice these scholarships up and create kids that are willing to pay their own way and financial aid people. So that's a key component. That if and it may vary depending on the school. You may really have an interest going to University of Texas, and you'd pay the full amount to go there, where you might not have the same thing hypothetically and to go to Utah. I mean, I'm certainly not picking on either of those two schools, but that's just the example of how a parent may look at it. Again, then from parentally too, once you get closer to home, the cost to come see your son play becomes different. So if you're in California and you go to the Ivy League, that's great, but you got to realize every time you're going to go see him play, it's a $2,500 to $3,000 a week. By the time you get back there, rent a car, stay in a hotel, and take he and his buddies out to dinner a couple times, you're out $3,000.